Join me today as I share with you how I apply these teachings in terms of the content that I bring to you every week. My name is Fazila Bizior, and this is the Inner Work Mastery channel. So this week, as I prepped and I put together my visuals for the latest chapter that I was going to produce, I ran into a little bit of a hiccup yesterday in that my hubby had some car trouble. And in terms of my timing to produce the content and edit today, well, it got thrown out the window. It did tune me into something in terms of where was I coming from? What am I conscious of being? And so I want to share with you what it takes in terms of applying the law, applying these teachings, not just from Neville Goddard, but I study a whole lot of other teachers like Joseph Murphy, Florence Scovel Shinn, many others, so that I can bring together the learnings and the teachings in my own life. And so today, in less than 3 hours, I will be flying out to go spend some time with family. It's my great niece's first birthday, and I'm so looking forward to this time that when I looked at what's it going to take for me to produce this week's video, do I rush through it and make sure it's ready for scheduling on Sunday? Or what do I do? And I then mentioned to my husband today as I was packing, maybe I'll take my laptop along with me. And so he said to me, there's no way. Well, I have a big family. I'm talking my immediate siblings. I have immediate family. It's about 25, no, 27. I lost count, as you can see. I have a great niece who was born on the 1st of Feb in last year. And I also have a grand nephew or great nephew, and he was born in December. And so, well, now where am I in terms of all of this? There are choices to be made. And so I decided I would pack so that I make it on time to get to the airport, and I would get myself ready and come through and record the session, record the content. Well, depending on how much time I've spent recording and editing, takes about twice as much that time. And so I decided rather than being so much in the left brain and so logical and just taking action, I had to just stop and pause. And this is what Neville teaches as well. And many of the great philosophies and teachings talk to drop into the quietness, drop into the stillness, and really connect within. And so that's what I did. I just took some time and I thought, let me regroup and let me reframe as well. So there were a couple of things that were weighing on my consciousness, I would say. And that was, I've been aware that my best performing video to date was in February last year. And now, if we start to look at metrics around how YouTube performs and what are we to do in terms of if you want to be monetized, which I do, I'd love to have this channel monetized because then it will support me in terms of still continuing to bring content through, but that's not the major focus. And that in that itself is also another epiphany or another awareness that came about. I realized that I was actually focusing on the rollover of these hours, which have been the bulk of hours on my channel, will fall away in February sometime. And that was when I stopped and I realized if I am to create content which is going to be serving my audience and it serves the desire within me as well, I'm not going to do things for the sake of it. At the same time, I could also let things lapse and not create the content and not be on a regular schedule, which I'm after the silly season, etc., and moving house twice last year. I have made a commitment to producing my content on a regular schedule, as regular as it can be in terms of work-life balance and my clients, etc. So where I'm going with this is I was coming from a state of lack, and I realized there is never lack in God's mind. And so if I am to focus on and be conscious that these hours will fall away, I would be creating from lack. And I know how quickly that will show up in my life. And so I am doing this video today to say to you that it is one thing to be teaching. I lead my clients through how to create their life, how to recreate their situations, experiences. I teach revision, I teach self-concept, how to use and how to stay in the state of I am. And so I walk my talk, and I apply these teachings every day. And one of the big things that helps me neutralize any time that I may be conscious of being in lack, or I'm feeding the doubts as opposed to leaning into my faith, is number one, I am is never, never going to experience lack unless I put my attention on that. And that is the topic of the next chapter that I was going to be dealing with this week. But having studied it and it reminds me of where to put my attention, I will create this the video next week and share that with you. Now, where I found myself then is there is no loss in divine mind. And so everything always works out for me in miraculous ways. I created a video and the content that took off. In fact, when that video started to climb in terms of the watch hours, I will say I know myself that I was not ready for that. And it went from the 500 mark, which I think had been the highest to date in February last year, to it started to climb. It went into the thousands, and at its height, it was at about 17,000, and that does continue to grow. But yeah, it was a reminder for me that if I did it once, I can do it again. And so I'm here telling you as well that if you have a desire, one of the big things that I've realized is when Neville says, "What do you want?" is to be very clear on that. And when you've done the what I like to do is also look at what is the why behind my what. And what the why does, it provides you with the fuel to go the distance. There may be times you'll have doubts, and I've had doubts along the way with certain things. One of the things I have to remind myself is, am I making my fear greater than my faith? Am I doubting that my consciousness can create greater than the lack, the scarcity mindset, etc., that I might have? And I know I can change this. And so my why for creating these videos, number one, was to create a legacy, a library that the future generations of my family, in fact, the current generation, when they are ready, they have this available. I hit 75 videos the past weekend. I got a notification as well to say, well done, you've done 75 videos. My one aim, a very concrete aim in the physical world, is that to not give up until I've done 100 videos. So that is the other thing that fuels this, is that I can look at this and say that I have accomplished what I set out to achieve. And that in itself is the satisfaction. So I want to remind you that when the going gets tough, and you have your what, look at the why. The why is going to help you understand what meaning you've given to your what, your desire. Now, many people will say, why am I not having my desire? Why hasn't it happened yet? I'm going to encourage you to go look at your why and understand that the outcome, what meaning you've given to your desire, is actually the outcome you require. And in my case, it's not just creating another video to tick off the requirement that the algorithm continues to tick over and that I attract my audience and I build my audience, etc. That is a wonderful outcome. However, I want to also produce great content. And the content is available then, not just as a teaching medium. It is available, and it's not just manifestation. It is so that those who are seeking to expand their consciousness, and that's you, those who show up to my channel, they are seeking to expand their consciousness, and manifestation is one of the outcomes of the result of expanding consciousness and stepping into I am. And each time just dropping the feelings of inadequacy, the lack, the fears, the doubts, because those fears and doubts are always going to be an echo of the things that you feared and doubted in the past. And you've got to ask yourself, am I still the person who will fear or doubt or believe that I lack or believe that I cannot have this? Because if I were to hold on to the pinnacle of my channel being that one video, what happens is that I will create a choke point or a stranglehold that I cannot go beyond. And I refuse to have that happen. And so the first place is I show up because I teach this, I lead my clients, I guide them in terms of navigating through the challenges. And I don't get a free pass. I tell my clients this as well. What I have done, though, is that I'm on top of what is coming through, and I've got to become aware of what I've been conscious of being and thinking. And that is where a lot of people can get very tripped up, because you may desire one thing, like I would love to have this channel be successful, but it's been a learning curve. I started the channel in August 2023. And if you go back to my first video, I sat there and I was really like paralyzed. I may have just been a talking head at the time, but I am so thankful for how I showed up then, despite the fear. And so it meant I was conscious of having success, and that's what I tune into. So I'm putting this video out unedited. It's going to be published on Sunday. I will be with family, creating, being present, making memories, etc. And so, yeah, this is another breakthrough that I've had, is show up, do the work, and keep moving through, because I know what my definite aim is, what my target is. And as Neville says, you press forward towards the mark, and the mark is my target. And even though it may not come off as perfect, and by the way, I have rehabilitated perfectionism. Yeah, I am saying to you that it is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And maybe it's not even a marathon at times, and it's a walk. But when you commit to you and you follow through on your commitments, that is where the magic lies. That is how miracles come about. Because you are telling to I am. That is you, your consciousness. I'm doing this. I'm having it no matter what. So enjoy expansion with me. Thank you for being part of this channel. 75 videos in. If you work through all of those videos and you maybe do 2 videos a week in 6 months, imagine where you'll be at. And that is my chief aim. It's a legacy for my family, for my friends, for my clients, and for you. So much love, and I will see you with a brand spanking new video in 2 weekends time, because everything's been prepped and I'm ready to rock and roll if you are.